Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. It's been a while since I did one of these lives, so we'll see what happens. Good afternoon, and definitely please tap the screen. Originally, I was going to have a guest on here. Hey, boo. And she decided that she wanted to wait, but she did tell me I could move forward and share the information with you guys. Um, this is really, hey, Coach Kev. I love to be transparent, keep everybody in the loop as far as what's going on as it pertains to us getting ready for the Internet Family Reunion, our continuous support of the nephews, as well as what we are doing with our community give back initiative. So, yes, please continuously tap the screen. That way, everybody who's just on the FYP, it'll snag their attention. Unfortunately, I'm not where I used to be, so folks don't see me nor do they get their notifications. So, there's that. Hey, Black, hi, Fee. Okay, so let me give you some context to what we're going to talk about today and definitely chime in. Hey, Moni. Um, As it pertains to last season, thank you, boo. Welcome to the club. Um, Many people pondered why Shedeur decided to stay in Cleveland. Why would he even want to go to Cleveland when everyone has tagged Cleveland as the cemetery for quarterbacks? And during his recruiting and scouting season last year, while he was still at Colorado, it was evident that excuse me, he had interest in New York as well as Cleveland, and there were some other places. Now, of course, none of us took Cleveland very seriously because, like I said, the position that it puts a quarterback in and going to Cleveland is not a good position. Really good quarterbacks had come before Shedeur, Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, some other people, and it didn't go well for them. They ended up either no longer playing football or they had to trade to other teams. So, why would we want our beloved nephew to go somewhere where we already know it is not going to be a good look? Well, as it turns out, there were some other things at play here. Shador had made it very much known and understood. He wanted to go play for a team where he would be able to build, be franchise, as well as change the culture of that. And for many of us, we assumed that Shador was just talking about football. We assumed Shador was just talking about what was going on in um, Cleveland as it pertained to him. We were not really listening to what he said. And before I even tell you about what I was going to talk about today, got the notification from both of his pages on Instagram. And this confirmed exactly what I'm getting ready to talk to you about. Shador, in his regular, hey, nephew, in his regular calm demeanor, he just went in there and he posted to his stories. He wanted to buy some merch. Local, local stores, boutiques, hit me up in my DM. And I love that about him because he is not only relatable, but he makes himself accessible to the people he feels needs have the greatest need. So let that be the prefix to what I'm getting ready to go into. So, as you all know, we have been donating to Paul L. Dunbar Arts Enrichment Academy in Cleveland. And at the beginning of the Community Give Back Initiative, I shared with you that starting 2026-2027 school year, 27 schools in the Cleveland School District were going to be closed. Now, once they closed those schools, then those schools and those student bodies relative to those schools would then be blended with another campus, or the students would be required to migrate somewhere else. Okay. Now, the young lady who has been the liaison and she is a bundle of joy, Miss Whitney Dotson, she is the paraprofessional aide who works at Paul L. Dunbar. She is also the track coach. She is also the cheerleader coach. She is also responsible for seeing to it that the children who don't have things they need, such as school supplies, hygiene products, and even something to eat, she has been facilitating that. Well, when we reached out to her and asked her, how can we help? We want to help. It's very big to Shedeur to give back. It's big to us. And his give back is always with the children. What can we do to help the situation? She proceeded to tell me the story about the schools closing in the fall. And I asked, okay, what can we do for you? And she said, well, the kids need school supplies. They also need hygiene products as well as snacks because sometimes the kids come in before school opens, some of the kids stay after. Say less. We then put together an Amazon gift registry with over $14,000 worth of products, school supplies, school supplies, hygiene products, snacks, juices, waters. And you all responded. The cart started off at $14,700. And let me give you a accurate where we are today. Mm. Now, the last time I checked, it was already at 9,000 something. There have been more things that have been, it was like at 99 something. So let me see where it is right now so I can tell you all accurately. You can't hear me? How about now? Can you hear me now, boo? Okay. All right. So, what background? What does the background noise sound like? Oh, it's probably because I was sitting it on the laptop. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, as it stands right now, it is right at $9,942. That's what's left in the cart right now. Okay. So there's that part. So when speaking with Miss Whitney, she she has sent us pictures of the kids. I posted those pictures. Now, what does this have to do with Shedeur? I'll tell you what this has to do with Shedeur. When Shedeur, the beginning of the season, remember when he threw that festival? He had an opportunity to go and really be in the mix with folks. He had already visited the schools and he had an opportunity to see where there were definitely needs. But when there was the fire and he had the chance to go and really see, that kind of changed things. And everybody was then still asking because he had an opportunity at that time, why doesn't he go? Why is he staying in Cleveland? Well, it was quite clear. Shedeur is not the type of person to see that there is a need to do something, whether it's on the field or off the field, and take the position that doesn't have anything to do with me and keep it pushing. He's definitely going to find out what is the core of the issue and then figure out a way to get him and his team involved to assist. He does this in stealth silence. He doesn't make big announcements. He doesn't even brag or talk about it. We usually find out these things because other people find out about it and they tell everybody, with the exception of the festival, because he wanted everybody to be there and participate, and the car giveaway because it was a contest. Everything else that Shedeur has done, he has always done in silence. Now, we watched Shedeur deal with what was going on at the facility on the field. had no knowledge of what was going on in Cleveland and how that was relative to him, why would he stay? Shedeur stayed because he wanted to be the franchise quarterback. He also wanted to change the narrative of the team that he was playing on. But Shedeur Sanders stayed because there was a need. And let me tell you about the need that's going on in Cleveland. So initially, it was 27 schools that were scheduled to be closed. Yesterday, Miss Whitney gave me a call and let me know that it was now 29. And Paul L. Dunbar is now one of the schools that's closing. Miss Whitney, along with several other paraprofessionals and teachers, will be part of a massive layoff in the district. The layoffs were contingent on your seniority. Contingent on where you were on that list determined if you were going to be reassigned or replaced somewhere else, or if you were going to be laid off. So after this school term, Miss Whitney will no longer be with the Cleveland School District, and Paul L. Dunbar Arts Enrichment Academy will close. What does that mean for those babies? Hmm. Well, let me tell you what that means. According to the research I did, the schools are being closed because there has been a 50% drop in enrollment straight across the district, and the cost to sustain the schools staying open is greater than what they have. So there's 29 schools and 18 buildings. So along with the 29 schools, there are several supplemental buildings that they have for the students and different programs, other things that are operatives of the district, those will be closing too. The student population has dropped 50%. So it was at 70,000 students in this school district. It is now at 34,000, and the district is at $150 million deficit. Now, there are a couple of things that are affecting this. One, fewer children. The birth rate is down. The birth rate is down straight across the board, but specifically in Cleveland. Let me share with you some of the things in Cleveland that are adding to this. A lot of the families who are there that can afford to, they're leaving the city. They're migrating and they're going somewhere else. Cleveland's median income is $40,000. The poverty rate is 30%. 100% of the students that are considered economically disadvantaged are in the district of Cleveland, in inner city, and they are specifically on the east side of Cleveland, which is a predominantly Black side of town. The income median for Black families in Cleveland is $29,000. So, what is happening? Lots of people are leaving Cleveland. They're moving other places. Higher income families, they are moving to the suburbs and they are taking their money and their students with them. The other thing is housing. Because there's not that many people, the property values have gone down. There's lots of empty, vacant housing. People cannot afford to live in what is available. And as a result, the enrollments have declined. Now, state funding has actually decreased in Cleveland, and they've lost about 10.5 million in aid, which is why their budget deficit is at 150 million. Most of the buildings they're underused. They need major repairs, and it is too expensive to either rehab them or to sustain them at all. So, what the district's plan was when they came up with some of the initiatives to save the schools and not have to close them was to create a stronger and sustainable future. And they wanted to move from there being these small pockets of excellence and make it district wide. The whole concept was if we consolidate, then we can improve quality. But that's a debate because if you're closing 29 schools and you're going to consolidate or align schools with other schools, are you bringing in more teachers if you're doing this massive layoff? And what about the teachers who have abridged and built rapport with the students on the campuses that they are at? You move children to new places. Geographically, that looks good on paper, but how does that affect the overall progression and productivity and the success for those children. That part right there, Moni, how big are your classrooms going to be? Because traditionally, an oversized classroom is 30 or more students. Now, you add to that the majority of the students that you're now teaching, they come from a socioeconomic disenfranchised population. Most of them are poor. And if they have to align these students, that's going to mean that kids are going to either have to be bused, hastened, the students are going to have to be bused, or they're going to have to use public transportation. Well, how do you meet that need when you already have children who are going to school just so they can eat? So if I was someone that had the star power that Shedeur had, what would I do? I would stay. I would stay. And I would prove everyone wrong. Not wrong about me playing, but I would prove everybody wrong about the city that I now live in and I call mine. I would take my influence and I would take my resources and see what I could do to turn this around. So when he said change the culture and change the narrative, he wasn't just talking about football. He was talking about his city, because Cleveland is now his city. So now you add to that, they're moving the stadium. They're moving the stadium out of the city. So now what happens to that level of income? Because we know the city was given $100 million to subsidize this big change. The 100 million is tied to initiatives for economic growth, specifically programs to rebuild these neighborhoods. But if the schools are already closing and you've already done massive layoffs, what are you all really doing with that money? What are you rebuilding? Because wouldn't it be poignant to do the rebuilding right now while the schools are closing and make certain that people don't lose their jobs? Or do you wait for the massive exodus, people who have the means and the money to leave, and the people who don't to be forced out? And then you can have grand land developers come in and buy land and property at pennies on the dollar and gentrify it into property and retail developments that have tax brackets that force the people who have lived there all their lives to be forced out. Hmm. So, in my conversation with Miss Whitney yesterday, of course, it was very emotional. She is sweet as pie. And these last couple of months, as we have talked with her and um, she shared with us how the children are so responsible um, about passing out the care packages that they make. Due to all of the donations that everyone has been making, Miss Whitney has been able to create a surplus. And teachers who were having to come out of their pockets to see to it that these students had the things that they needed, now, as a result of their little surplus pantry, that is not the case. She sent me pictures yesterday of all of the girl hygiene products that had been sent. And teachers now have in their classrooms these items so these young ladies do not have to be embarrassed or go without. So the contributions have definitely made a difference. Definitely made a difference. And I'm going to make a post so you guys can see the pictures that she sent me. So of course, you know me, I'm talking to Miss Whitney and I'm just like, okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What can we do to fix this? What what do you need? Hello, love bugs over here. I had to do the screen so I could see the stuff I was talking about. Um, and me myself, I became emotional too because I've been talking to Miss Whitney these last couple of months and the pictures that she sends of the children. And I get to see all of the things that are being sent. And I can tell all of you that have been donating and going on the list to purchase things. You didn't just go on there and just decide, you know what, I'm gonna buy a pack of erasers and try you. It was very evident that in giving you were very thoughtful in terms of the things that you were giving. And some of you have been repeat donors. I see the names of the people who give, and it, it is emotional. It does. It tugs at your heart. One, the kindness of other people. And then two, how did we get here that we even have to do this? This is part of a child's upbringing. Going to school should never be about, is my school going to be open tomorrow? How am I going to eat? I don't have a pencil. I didn't take a bath today. I don't have any soap at home. But that's the reality of these children. And Miss Whitney happened to be one of those people who she didn't care how much time was spent. She didn't care how many hats she was wearing, because she's a paraprofessional and she is also the coach for the track. She is also the coach of the cheerleading team. And she's the one that the kids come to with those needs. She's not going to be there anymore. This is her last. They are closing her campus and she's being laid off because she doesn't have the seniority. That's heartbreaking. Children do not ask to come into this world. They do not get to pick if they're poor, if they're middle class, or if they're rich. They get handed a deck of cards, and depending on the people who are in charge of them and raising them, it will determine how they play them. But the idea that someone, and she's a little bitty thing, let me tell you, she is so cute. She is a little bitty, tiny, petite thing. And she has kids herself. Hi, Callie. So picture this: you're a paraprofessional aide. You pull up to the school. It's before school opens. Sitting on the stoop are a couple of children already because they know what time Miss Whitney gets to school. And they can get to school early enough, she'll be able to help them. You get out of your car with your own children. You all head into the schoolhouse, and these are the kids that are meeting you at the door. She doesn't ask why you don't have. She doesn't query where's whoever. They tell her what they need or what it is they don't have, and she just says, "Come with me." Now, prior to us sending stuff, she was making it, hey, Shell, she was making it by donations of other people. So people would drop things off or whatever. But once we started sending things to the school, yes, you can, Nikki. I'm about to tell you guys. Ah, thank you, love. Once we started sending things, the kids were not just sitting on the steps waiting to ask for something. They were sitting on the steps waiting to go check the packages because they know anything that's labeled for Miss Whitney was something that was being sent for them. And they will check with her on a daily basis. Did we get something today? These are children that are at risk, some of them. But she has managed to keep these children engaged. She has managed to take the focus off of the things they don't have and the situations that they have at home. And for at least 8 hours of their day, they have something to eat and they know someone cares about them and they're staying focused on school. Now, that's probably not the school experience a lot of us had, but that's the reality of a lot of children in Cleveland right now. Oh, Moni, go ahead and cry, honey, because I've cried too. Like I said, children don't ask. So now let's go back to nephew. Shedeur came to Cleveland, rich, affluent, well traveled, strong family support system, anything and everything he could possibly want. He is done, he is bought. He has the love and support of his parents, his grandparents, and his siblings, and a plethora of support globally. And in that, when he could have walked into that office and said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't have to deal with this. I want to trade. He stayed. Now the sports pundits will tell you that it's because he's cocky and he's arrogant and he wants to be like his dad. He does want to be like his dad, but not how you think he wants to be like his dad. He wants to leave a legacy. He wants to be a man of truth and faith and honor. He wants to be a loyal and consistent teammate. And he wants to be the type of global citizen. Oh, she's coming. She will be at the meet and greet. But he also is not going to turn his back on those kids. And we've all been like, why do they not like him? What is their problem with him? And there it is. There it is. He has chosen to take the road less traveled because someone like him should not want to do the things that he does. Go to his Instagram stories, go to his Shedeur Sanders story, go to his SS2 story. And on his story today, he is choosing to buy locally because he knows the situation that the people in his city are in. Not a designer. He said local. And he told them, hit me up in my DM. Not a press conference, not a bunch of rah rah. He sees the problem and he is contributing to fixing it. When I hung up the phone with Miss Whitney yesterday, needless to say, yes, I was crying. I was crying for those children. I was crying for her because it just didn't seem fair. It's not right. I'm so tired of hearing stories of the good folks having to finish last. Why? Why don't we get rid of the people who don't care? Why are we holding on to people? So what, they've been here longer? Because of the work that she has done, she has managed to put together a means and a system for the students who attend that school to continue to thrive. That has to count for something. It has to count for something. Well, she initially agreed she was going to come on the live and she was going to talk to us. And then today she said, no, I don't really feel it. And I can understand it. That's a big gut punch. It's an extremely big gut punch. To answer your question, Nikki, if you want to donate, you can go to Amazon and um, you can type in Internet Family Reunion, and it'll take you to the link. Um, Internet Family Reunion. Yeah, it'll take you to the page. And please, because what it is that she wants to do now is she wants to see to it that she's able to make care packages for all of her students before they close the school. So I told her I would come on here and let everybody know what we're working with and get the cart emptied. Originally, it was like, well, we got until the Internet Family Reunion. Let's make sure we can get it empty. But here we are now. We got 29 schools closing. And once her doors are closed, her kids, they don't have her anymore. So in the interim, we can help. We can empty out that cart and get that stuff to her because it's not just only her kids on campus that she makes certain. It's any of the kids that need anything that are in her district. That's how she is. So the push now is to empty the cart and be able to get the kids those care packages so that they will be able to have that stuff. Because what they're not going to do is I was like, I don't want to sound nasty, Miss Whitney, but they're not going to close the school and then take those children's donations and do with them what they want to do with them. And she was like, no, 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 I'm making care packages. And that's why I was like, okay, cool. That works for me. The other thing is I had mentioned about vendors because I know there are people in Cleveland who are vendors. They sell sports stuff, they sell bling stuff, they are entrepreneurs. And at the family reunions meet and greet, it's an opportunity. You can get a vendor's table for $50 and be able to sell your stuff. So there's that. There you go, Miss Nikki. Um, And I do understand that right now we are going through a horrible time as a nation, both economically and politically. So there's a lot of things that are going on. A lot of people have been laid off since January. There have been interim um, government shutdowns. Financially, this is really not a good time for a lot of people. Understand. Understand. So I do not want people to, if you don't do anything else, if you just simply can share that there is a give back in Cleveland and where they can go to give, that in itself is contributing as well. It's not about how much we give. The point is that we stay focused and see to it that these children get these things so that there'll be a little cushion when they land from this closure. I did ask Miss Whitney, it's like, do your kids know? And she said yesterday morning when she went, she took some pictures and made a little video to send me the stuff that she had put together in care packages. And she also sent me pictures of other things that other people had donated as well. And she was telling me about how excited she was. And then by the afternoon, early afternoon, she got the news that her campus was going to be closing and she was getting laid off. And one of her students did see her because, of course, she was crying and she was upset. So I don't know if all of her babies know that she's not going to be there anymore. Um, but I know she's really upset about it. And I feel bad for her. So if you're not in a position to go on the gift registry and purchase something to send to the kids, if you could be so kind to just simply share the information with people you know, would donate and are able to at this time. That's still helping the cause because what we want to do is have that cart emptied before the school year is out and she be able to make the care packages that she's talking about in order to give to all of her students before they close the doors. So there is that. And now we know. Mhm. Our poor Shedeur. We were thinking so superficial. And on the surface, it's always been greater than football for him. Always. And the idea that people will say the things that they say about him, not clearly understanding. He's not a young man that wants to, nor does he need to grandstand. That's not his DNA. That's not what he does. But this is what is going on in Cleveland right now. Um, I also didn't know that um, some other things about Cleveland is the poorest, it's the largest poorest city in the country. I didn't know that. I went to Cleveland in December and I saw some stuff and was just like, yo, wow. But I didn't really quite understand the depth of it. Let me say that. Didn't quite understand the depth of it. So I now can understand the shift. I'm very excited about the shift and what that means. So now that I've told you the bad news, let me tell you about the good news and how it correlates to why Shedeur says and does what he says and does. So receipts are everything. I love a good receipt. Flip back to the beginning of last season. Shedeur is standing on the field with a young man. They're having an interview or whatever. The young man asked Shedeur, "So what is your goal while you're here in Cleveland?" He said, "I promised the people to take us to the Super Bowl." And the gentleman kind of, okay, like, oh, that's cute, young man. That's a good goal to have. Shador was serious. He wasn't just giving you journalistic fodder. He was telling you what he meant. So, what does that mean if a team begins to win? Well, this is what happens in cities where they've not been champions and then they begin to make the playoffs and eventually go to the Super Bowl. See, there is a turn. Not only are people interested in flying into your city to go to the games, people are now interested in living in your city. And with that, business and commerce is ready to come to the city because it is a winning team. There's lots of traffic. People are coming in and out for games. People are now wanting to spend their time in Cleveland. Developers, real estate. So, see, for Shador, winning is changing the narrative and the culture in Cleveland. It's been a long time since Cleveland was a winning organization. It's been a long time since the city of Cleveland was thriving. And if I ever get the opportunity to be in Shador's presence again, because I met him one time in Cleveland, I mean, Boulder, I'm going to just ask him. So you really was walking around with all of this on your back and you wasn't going to say nothing to anybody? It's rhetorical, baby. It's rhetorical. You don't have to answer, Auntie. My God, today. And we sitting here getting PO'd about him having to sit on the bench. And he's not only worried about what's going on the bench, he's worried about them folks he met on the east side of Cleveland. He's worried about what he sees when he's driving through the city of Cleveland. Hmm. That's your quarterback. That's your captain. That's your leader. And I remember saying that it's necessary for us to show him support because the burden he carries is heavy. It's heavy. The world is looking at you already because they got a bad taste in their mouth because they pissed about who your daddy was and is. They still stuck on NFL draft 1989. My God, today. It's 2026. It's time for y'all to let that go. Been there, done that. He's played Major League Baseball. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's coached. I mean, come on, let that go. But you're the son of this great athlete, philanthropist, global citizen. They're not going to let you forget it. And you don't mind that part. He doesn't mind you talking about his dad and bringing up his dad and all of that. He does mind you not seeing him as Shedeur Sanders. He is Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, but he is Shedeur Sanders, the young man, all on his own. So there's that. So now, what are we going to do? The same thing we've been doing. Continue to support. Right now, the big push is to get that cart emptied and to see to it that, one, those children, they have what they need. Two, the nephew knows and understands that we see him. We see him. We see you and we see what you're trying to do. Wait, let me fix that. I hate saying try. Try to me, it sounds like an excuse for not doing what you want to do. We see what you are working towards. That sounds better. Yeah. We see what you are working towards and we support you in that. We do. We support you in that. So if you would like to, you can go to the Amazon, you can go to Amazon.com and in the search bar, type Internet Family Reunion Gift Registry, and it will take you straight to it. You don't have to worry about shipping or anything. The Miss Whitney and the school's address is already programmed into it. So whatever it is you decide to donate, it goes directly to the school. We don't see, no one touches it except for when it lands on Miss Whitney's porch. So there's that. Um, I guess the other thing is find out who um, the businesses are. And I'm going to just have to be real honest here. There is not a sense of urgency in Cleveland. It is not. In trying to ask and organize and do things with people in Cleveland, the sense of urgency is not there. And it can be very frustrating, especially when you're wanting to help. You're asking, and I'm not talking about Miss Whitney, I'm talking about other things. Just in general, as we have been coordinating and planning the Internet Family Reunion, I cannot tell you how many times we have called to places, hotels, venues, and tried to get information. And it was almost as if I was talking to a 7 or 8 year old. I'm pulling teeth. The people who are answering the phone, they're not well versed in what's going on at the place that they even work to be able to even answer the questions I'm asking. And this is coming from someone who doesn't live there and is wanting to pour into the city. That's the whole point of this. That whatever city we touch down in for the Internet Family Reunion, that we support and give back as a result of what is to the nephew who is playing in that city. Everyone knows that the children are important to Shedeur. So there is that. So that's where we are today, family. That's where we are. I did have to go back on Eventbrite and revamp the ticketing. So there is a new link. But again, you can go to Eventbrite if you're wanting to purchase tickets three for all three events. There's a link for that. If you want to just do the meet and greet and you're going to buy your own game ticket, there is a link for that too. I need to go back in there. Did I put the vendor table? I'll go back and put that in there. I'm not certain. It's been a very busy morning for me today. Um, the other thing is this. Because of the the changes that have been made, Coach Todd is now in Cleveland. Andrew Berry has rebuilt this team around Shedeur, and Shedeur has gone back to his number two. Those tickets are not going to just sit there. They are going to fly off the shelf. So I say that to say this: all of those games are not going to be on Sundays. The games could potentially be on a Thursday night, a Sunday night, and a Monday night. For those of you who have already purchased your tickets or paid your deposit, excuse me, I'm sharing that with you, but I already set the expectation, but I'm reiterating it. Let's say the game is on a Thursday. Then the game will be on a Thursday. The meet and greet will be after the next day. And then, of course, the reunion. I am not going to schedule anything on the day of a game. That would be insane. I would not want people traveling on a day of a game either. Things happen. So there's that. That's a potential for a Thursday night game. The game is on Sunday. Okay. Saturday, or we can do Friday meet and greet. Saturday is the reunion. Sunday is the game. Oh, thank you, Nikki. If the game is on a Monday night, then we do everything Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Just giving you an idea of what we're looking at potentially. In a perfect world, it would be great for the game to be on a Sunday, and then we can do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we are like what is this? April? It's a shame my days run together. We're in April. Season starts September 10th. So this gives people an opportunity to kind of play around. If you've got time, PTO, vacation time, understand and know if you've paid your deposit, keep your time so that way you can use it in the fall. That Atlanta Falcons game. And let me explain to you guys why I keep talking about the Atlanta Falcons game. Kevin Stefanski is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons now. Okay. The Atlanta Falcons have to come to Cleveland for the game. So there's that. They got to come to Cleveland for the game, which means that Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees have to come back to Cleveland and face the very quarterback that they tried to bench. Atlanta is not happy about Kevin Stefanski being there, nor are they happy with what he did to Coach Prime's son. So there's that animosity too. So when I tell you that everybody from the ATL is going to be flying into Cleveland to watch that game, I'm not playing. I remember last year when I kept saying the big game is going to be Shedeur and Cam. The big game is going to be Shedeur and Cam. And it was. Now, we also understand there's a possibility that the game might be either at the beginning of the season, which is in the fall, and it's comfortable and still weather is good, or it could be in the winter months the part of the season when it's now cold and there's snow. We did do a survey to find out how people felt about that, and folks were like, "We really would like for it to be early in the fall, but if that game is in the winter, I'm in." So there's that. If the game is in the winter, know this: in your swag bags, there will be hand warmers and feet warmers. I've already gone online and took care of that. There will be feet warmers and hand warmers because it is brick city cold in Cleveland in the winter. So there is that. Just keeping everybody abreast of what's going on. We are steadily watching. I wish they would hurry up and drop the dates so we could know. Now, for those of you that got your email and it said May 5th, the reason I said May 5th is because, like I said before, these tickets for Shedeur and the Cleveland Browns, they're gonna sell out. So we want to make sure our tickets are paid in full and we don't have to worry about anything. So there is that. There is that. Let me put it in here. Doo-dee-doo. So you can go to Eventbrite, and if you decide to purchase your tickets on Eventbrite, you are able. Hello, Yvonne. You are able to break it up in payments. Klarna and Afterpay are there. So there is that. Okay. All right, Chad. I gave you a lot. So what say you? Okay, so that is the tea in Cleveland. And if there were any reason to support and love Shador Sanders, this definitely is the cherry on top. There's nothing that they can say about that young man anymore. He is bigger than football, but we've known that. We've always known that he was special. We've always known that there's a gift and there is an anointing on him that continues to reveal different facets of him to us. Other people who are just stuck, they don't get it. It's not for them to get. The Shador is where he is needed and where he wants to be. He wants to be a part of the change. He doesn't want to be just another rich jock getting another check. So, for all of the internet aunties, uncles, and cousins who support what he stands for and who he is as a player and a young man, let us support the city that he lives and plays in for. And I can't say it enough. Turn down the volume and scroll away from these people who insist on holding on to yesteryear, yesterday, and all of the negative stuff, who want to create these ulterior dimensions of false narratives. It is unfortunate and sad that that is what some people have to do in order for themselves to feel good and to remain relevant. It doesn't pertain to us. It's not our monkey, not our circus. So there is that. But if you are someone who does investment property or you're doing rental property, you part of the chat, I would strongly recommend calling your broker or going online and looking at potential property. because it's an opportunity not only for you to have an investment and a return, but it is also a means for you to assist in a growing problem in the city. So, just something to think about. I'm definitely thinking about some things too. Just throwing that out there to see. Thank you again to everyone who has shared the link and gone on there and made a purchase. Um, the children are gravely appreciative. Miss Whitney is appreciative. We have made a difference. And though it is not the end goal we wanted to see, in the meantime, in between time, let's stay focused on where we are right now in the present and continue being proactive in assisting them. Okay, well, that's all I got, folks. It's Saturday. I hope everyone is having a good one. And as always, go do great things and protect your peace and your mental health. Ciao. Mhm.